in its totality has not passed the Senate yet, right?
No.
But that part of it did.
Yes.
Judge Sumi issued an injunction against it to stop it from being enacted as law. And because it was published by the Fiscal Bureau or the Legislative Reference Bureau, LRB, because they published it, the administration argued that it was law, even though they knew very well, but they weren't named in the injunction. And so they started to act on it. And she, yesterday, reiterated, hello, can't you, everything else you have going for you, you can't read. She said, let me be very clear what I meant.
Yeah, but in the paper today, they said in a statement that they were withdrawing.
They had started, and today they acknowledged that they have stopped doing that and that they are not
think
going
that was
to.
voted on yet, and I heard a rumor that they won't take it back to the vote because it won't be passed.
It has been voted on.
No, the whole bill.
Oh, the rest of it.
Yes.
But that part has.
The interesting question, I really didn't even think about the non-fiscal. Why wouldn't cutting the pension or having you pay 50% and doubling the health insurance, why wouldn't that be fiscal? They considered it non-fiscal, being challenged in the court because they didn't give a 24-hour notice. But I've heard the same thing. I think Senator Fitzgerald has said they don't want to take it back for a vote. That's why they're leaving it in court, because they may lose, or Republicans that don't want to support it.
But this goes back to the slipperiness. They argued when they brought it forward the first time, it was part of a budget repair bill, and you thought it had no business in it. And they argued it was fiscal, and then they argued that it wasn't, so they could take a vote while Dave was swimming in Illinois.
There was a question back here.
Yes, ma'am.
Dave, did you see the new ad by the WMC stating that because of you, the good teacher is
Yeah.
If you read or watch that ad, first of all, we've gotten calls against that ad, something like 25 people called and 3 actually supported it, so actually it was not doing what it expected. But the same ad is running in Florida, and if you notice the little note on the screen, it says file photo. She's an out-of-state actress, she is not a Wisconsin teacher, so I haven't done anything to her unless I'm joining the Actors Guild, and I haven't done that. But it is really a travesty of what they do with political
But
ads.
they did scout them.
Today.
Yes, ma'am. How are we going to get campaign finance reform?
I'll tell you, it was,
What was the question?
How are we going to get campaign finance reform?
and my idea of campaign finance reform, I have studied this for a long time and led work on our Heffernan Commission here, and I serve on a national organizations board that is it's the only bipartisan group working toward public funding of campaigns. So it has Bill Bradley and Warren Rudman and Alan Simpson and Bob Kerrey as chairs. And we're working very hard there on the national level. I'll tell you, one of the driving forces that made me kind of goofy enough to want to be governor was because I know that that's where it needs to be led from. I don't, as much as I would pressure David, and he has been there on public financing of campaigns, I'm not sure that it can be done without a governor leading it. But I hope, and I'm so glad you asked that we, as Democrats, continue to pressure everyone who represents us to work toward that end, because we can have government we can afford, and we can have good people run if we have that.
We also did the Impartial Justice Act where...
Oh, and he's eliminated.
Well, not yet. I mean, Prosser thinks he's had a target on his back because they're limited in their own spending to $300,000. You believe that's the issue?
Yeah, but that's in the, budget. Governor
Okay,
Walker
but I'm
has
saying in
eliminated-
this election on
Yeah.
Tuesday, and
Right.
just to let you know what Prosser thinks, he thinks it's awful that he was targeted and was meant to take him out of office. We did in the state Senate, we wanted full disclosure of issue ads, but didn't pass in the other house, so that was the start. But you're right, campaign finance reform would take money out of the system, which doesn't belong there, should be equal. And it shouldn't be as long as it is, obviously, but we have to do something because Citizens United has really destroyed the system, even to the degree that we can't even imagine.
Well, and imagine if they're not successful in defeating that anti-union bill, when in a country that has equated money with speech, and they're finding every strategy to keep us from working together and pooling our resources to find some voice in this. I mean, all of these are not haphazard. The timing of this at the federal and the state level and coming together is really very carefully orchestrated.
And I want to invite you all to next month's meeting, which is April 28th at the University. Peg Lautenschlager will be speaking
All right.
about Citizens United and money in politics. So you are all invited to the next Brown County Democratic Party meeting. It will be
Peg
at
has been fighting the fight in the courts.
She's been with us on this.
She's been phenomenal. And if she were our Attorney General still, it would be quite a different thing.
So I think
Peg is extraordinary.
there will be information coming out about that, but I just want you to know, heads up,
Yeah.
she's coming. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I don't even know exactly how to say this, but I am one of the few people who look at myself as being generous and frugal, but I would pay more taxes to have the institutions that I so believe in so firmly have enough money for our children.
That woman has been working for our children and the ones who need to be cared for the most for decades and decades here in Wisconsin. We're really lucky. But that's what we need to stay focused on.
Sir?
Why isn't the party releasing the names of the policy analysts and the speech writers and the inside cabinet that put together this conspiracy on a nationwide basis to start in Wisconsin, to take it to Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, and Colorado?
It makes you think that this came out as some think tank, and I would say ALEC is probably a good candidate for that.
Absolutely.
That has provided that, and I think they do have a page, I think they may have taken it down now, that ALEC was really feeding the system as far as each state following their direction and what they can do to further the wealth of the people on the top and take it away from the middle class. So it's an organized campaign without a doubt. And how do you get it done in this state? Well, we got to change a branch of government so that we've got some kind of clout to counteract one-person rule.
Raise corporate taxes.
It's called ALEC, A-L-E-C. It's the conservative think tank group that they always go to their summer meetings and spring meetings, and they talk about how
They write the
they can defend
legislation.
their way of life, which is not our way of life, obviously.
That is American Legislative Exchange Council, and one of their funders is, of course, the Koch brothers, among others.
Sure. Is that it?
Did you hear that? American Legislative Exchange Council, and one of the supporting parties is the Koch brothers. So that gives you some indication. Yes, ma'am.
Not a question, but I just have to state, I read that statement from the Dane County Republican Party online in one of my emails, and I honestly, seriously thought it was a joke. I did not for a minute believe that any intelligent body would have the nerve or gall to put that type of
It
out.
diminishes us all in
It was
the political realm.
Oh.
I mean, I took deep offense myself because, as I do with some of these things happening in the Capitol, because we're all painted with a broad brush, and it does diminish us all to have this, and it is so disheartening to think that it comes out of our state.
The sad part, they didn't mean it as a joke.
I know.
They were real.
You know,
And that just says something about how demeaning you can be to somebody. I mean, a judge, no matter what their political colors are, they're still basing on the basis of law. They tend to ignore that a lot.
What is the, I know the numbers to recall is based on percentage. What is the number for Governor Walker?
540,000.
550,000?
540.
540,000.
There's a Facebook
25% of the last gubernatorial election.
People have been on the tip of their tongue.
We're ready.
540,000.
Does anyone have the number of the pledges of?
No, you'd have to look that up. That changes every day. There's a lot of people pledging, but those pledges don't count. You can't start signing until November 3rd. So I hope people aren't confused by that. It's November 3rd when you get started because that's the election date. Then you have 60 days.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll have,
That's 150,000, I think, about 157,000 right now, for the people that are on that website. How's that pledged to come from? Redistricting,
What? There's about wrong county.
Really, is it?
Okay,
That's going to be another big thing coming up.
What is the state?
The process is going to be really hard, but what's the dates? Do you know when all this starts and how the process is going to go in the state?
For a recall, you mean?
Redistricting.
Redistricting, they will announce it. They probably know already if they stay in power in the Senate. We won't know until May of 2012, even if we're in our own district. They can draw us out. They can draw the lines that are very favorable to other candidates. But they have the power right now. So the necessary thing is for us, if we can get it, take back the Senate, we've got an opportunity there, and then we'd have a say. Right now, they hired an attorney for the Republican side. They took away our funding. We don't get any funding to defend ourselves. They have the power to do this and draw it the way they want. The thing that's a little different in the Assembly now, they have 60 Assembly people, and they got to try to protect all 60. It makes it a little bit more interesting because they all want to have better districts, and it's kind of hard to do. And I think the landscape in the last couple months is going to skew those numbers because we have people that are really engaged that weren't engaged in November, and they may not have been part of this their grand design because more people are engaged, and it could be a different day when they try to draw those. Hopefully that has changed.
And Rock County said they have to be careful because they can contest it if they have deviation too far in one county, one area, one district. Deviations are too far apart to be challenged in the court, and also that they have to be careful with minorities that they don't.
That's a good point. The courts will consider that, even if they have total control in the legislature and different branches.
Does the governor have the power to change the recall laws? You've heard some things about that he may be trying to do such things. I guess I never imagined he'd do what he's done so far.
I don't know. We'll have to look into that.
Okay.
Okay, we just wanted to thank everybody. Got one back here. I know you had your hand up before.
Kind of a comment and question. Scott Fitzgerald, is he up for? Is he targeted for recall? I believe everyone is, right?
No, was he just elected, Jim? Do you know? No, he's got a year yet to wait.
Oh, so he's not targeted.
He'd have to be in his third year of his 4-year term. He's got to serve at least 1 year of his term, but there are 8 other ones that are.
2010. And where did he come from? I know he's been in office a long time. Did you guys know?
He was majority leader, minority leader,
Yeah,
majority leader. He's bounced around.
Was he always like this?
No. With the change in executive branch, he has become. He wasn't great before, but he's become very, very difficult to work with now.
Attila.
He is marching to the governor's drum. Interesting to note, his brother is the majority, the head speaker in the assembly, excuse me. The other brother, obviously the majority leader, and they just hired, the governor did, to head the state troopers, their dad.
Yeah, I know.
Fitzwalker standing.
And has step a highly qualified woman state trooper.
Shame.
Well, thank you all. Come back again.
And that is we not only are a party of hard workers, but we also are a party of fundraisers. And so we're going to have a spring fling on May 15th at the Riverside Ballroom. There will be an opportunity to have fun, talk with one another, listen to a great band, and dance.
And